Hello everyone, welcome to a test drill series, specifically on the subject crop science. Simulan na natin with question number 1. Number 1, the growth response of plants to the direction of light is called, so we're looking at ano daw ang tawag doon sa paglaki ng halaman by following the direction of light? Is it called geotropism, phototropism, thigmatropism, or epinastry? Now, if you know what light means in other, let's say, prefix, ang light is also related to the word photo. So, ang tamang sagot dito is phototropism. Okay? So, phototropism is the growth response of plants to the direction of our light. Ang phototropism, yan yung natural tendency ng ating halaman na lumaki towards the source of our light. And how does this happen? Through the hormone that we call as auxin. So imagine this is the shoot part of your plant. Okay? Yung shoot part ng halaman mo, meron diyang plant hormone na kung ang tawagin ay auxin. Ang ginagawa ng auxin na to ay ini-elongate niya yung cell para yung ating halaman ay lumaki. So madalas yan makikita sa ating shoot part o sa ating apical shoot meristems. Now, our auxin, these are very, very sensitive to light. Ibig sabihin yan, kapag yung halaman natin ay naarawan, yung ating auxin ay pupunta doon sa side na hindi tinatamaan ng araw. So kung isipin natin, takot siya sa araw. Siya ay lumalayo sa direksyon ng araw. Now, since lumalayo siya sa direksyon ng araw, for example dito, kung ang direksyon ng araw mo ay nandyan sa side na yan, what will happen is your auxin will move here. And since the function of your auxin is to elongate the cells, it is to grow the cells through cell elongation, so yung concentration ng auxin mo nandito sa part na to, so yung mga cells na nandito sa part na to, sila yung lalaki. And as it turns out, kapag humaba yan, your plant now will bend towards the direction of light. So that is what is happening in phototropism. Ano naman yung mga other terms which is also related to the growth of plants in relation to external stimuli? How about geotropism? Or geotropism, we also call it as gravitropism. Ito naman yung paglago ng ating halaman in response to gravity. Okay? With the word gravitro dito, or geo here, the growing of plants is in response to this external stimuli we call as gravity. Our roots, yung roots ng ating halaman, exhibit positive geotropism. Bakit siya naging positive geotropism? Kasi tumutubo siya towards the pull of gravity. Saan ba yung pull ng gravity? Pababa. 'Di ba? So yung pull ng gravity na pababa, doon ang tubo ng ating roots, kaya siya positive geotropism, sinusundan niya yung direction, yung pull ng gravity. How about negative geotropism? Yan naman na yung ating shoots or yung ating stem. Negative siya kasi yung pagtubo niya is against the pull of gravity. O remember, the pull of gravity ay pababa. But in negative geotropism, which usually happens to our shoots and stems, ang tubo ng shoots and stems ay pataas. Kaya siya tinawag na negative geotropism kasi kinokontra niya yung pull ng gravity. We also have a term here called thigmotropism. Ito naman yung growth ng ating halaman for some plants in growth in response to touch or physical contact. Madalas yan nangyayari sa mga halaman na hindi ganon ka-strong yung kanilang stem and they develop specialized stems or leaves called tendrils. And ano yung ginagawa ng tendrils na to? Kapag yung tendrils ay tumubo, okay, and nagkaroon siya ng physical contact to any object, ang gagawin ng tendrils na yan, babalutin niya yung object na to. And as it turns out, that tendril na will help the plant to climb up para, evolutionarily speaking, para kapag yung area is so dense, ibig sabihin, shaded yung area, yung tendrils na to, yung magiging paraan ng halaman para umakyat at makakuha ng araw yung ating halaman for survival purposes. Okay? Now, you have to understand, na yun yung purpose ng thigmotropism, and hindi lahat ng halaman may capacity to climb or to grow in relation to physical contact. Madalas itong mga halaman na to, yan yung mga vine plants natin, like grapes, yung sayote, as well as beans. But what you have to understand here is, ang thigmotropism is an adaptation ng ating halaman kung saan kumakapit siya sa isang structure para magsilbing support dahil yung kanyang stem ay weak. Or another way to think about it is that umaakyat siya sa isang structure because it serves as an evolutionary adaptation kung saan kailangan niyang umakyat in a dense environment and makakuha ng araw. Yun yung purpose ng thigmotropism or thigmotropism. How about epinasty? Epinasty now refers to the downward curling of our plant. More than likely of our leaves or flowers. Bakit nagda-downward curl yung ating leaves or flowers? It is because of environmental stress. Anong mga klaseng stress yan? Kumari, saksakan ng init, walang moisture, okay, na-damage yung ating halaman, it will cause your plant to bend or to curl downwards. This is not related to the movement towards light. Kaya ang pinakatamang sagot kanina, when we're asked kung ano ba yung kung ano yung movement ng halaman, growth movement ng halaman towards the direction of light, ang tamang sagot doon ay phototropism. Next question. These are special cells that allow your rice plants to adjust to varying levels of oxygen in the growth medium. So anong tawag kaya doon? Special cells that allow rice plants to adjust to varying levels of oxygen in the growth medium. Do we call that as aerenchyma cells, bulliform cells, phytochrome cells, or chloroplast cells? Now, if I am the one reading this question, ang makakahook sa aking paningin is yung word na oxygen. Why? Kasi yung word na oxygen sounds or is related to the sound of air, right? So, it is as if tinuturo ng oxygen na yun na ang tamang sagot is aerenchyma cells. Di ba? And tama nga, ang tamang sagot ay aerenchyma cells. Now, what are aerenchyma cells? Aerenchyma cells are found in plants that thrive in waterlogged areas, such as your rice. Aerenchyma cells are specialized parenchyma cells. They are specialized kasi they do form air spaces within the plant tissues, allowing now yung ating rice to transport gases like oxygen from the above part ground to the submerged roots. So yun yung ginagawa ng aerenchyma cells. We have to remember that our rice ay submerged yan sa tubig kapag itinatanim. So ibig sabihin, yung kanyang roots, hindi yan nakakakuha ng oxygen. Kumbaga, so paano nakaka-respire yung roots ng maayos? It is through these aerenchyma cells. And how does this happen? Yung oxygen na nakukuha ng mga rice na nasa, yung part ng rice na nasa above ground, okay? Yung oxygen na nakukuha niya, itinatransport niya sa sa part nung ating halaman, sa part ng ating rice plant na submerged in water. Okay? Kaya naman, yung ating Aerenchyma tissues, nagke-create siya ng pathway for oxygen kung saan minumove natin yung oxygen from the above ground part of your plant to the submerged roots. This now allows your roots to continue respiring, and respiration is a very important process in plants. So yung exchange of oxygen na yon from the above ground parts of the rice to the roots through the Aerenchyma cells will now allow the plant to continue respiring kahit na walang oxygen or limited yung oxygen na pinagtaniman natin dun sa rice kasi nga waterlogged yung area. So yan ang function ng Aerenchyma cells. Now let's look at the definition of the terms that is used as a choice in this question. For example, bulliform cells, ano yan? Yung bulliform cells, yan ay specialized cells found in leaves of grasses. For example, rice and corn. Kung mapapansin nyo, sa panahon ng tagtuyot, no, yung ating corn or yung ating rice or yung ating grasses, nag-curl sila. Okay? Nag-curl sila, nagfo-fold sila inward, and ang purpose ng folding nila inward is to conserve water. Now, yung bulliform cell, yan yung specialized cells na makikita sa mga grasses natin. So kung mapapansin niyo yung grasses natin dito, nag-curl siya sa gitna. Okay? And ito yung reason kung bakit nag-curl yung ating grasses. Why? Ito yung bulliform cells natin. During those times na mainit, ibig sabihin wala masyadong moisture. So ito, let's say ito yung moisture level, ano? Let's say wala masyadong moisture, ang mangyayari, yung ating bulliform cells ay magko-collapse. Kapag yan ay nag-collapse, yung ating dahon ay magko-close. So magko-close yan. And yung pag-close niya na yon will now allow humidity to be concentrated in this part, conserving now water for your plant. Yun ang purpose ng bulliform cells. Another term that we have discussed in that question is phytochrome cells. Now, phytochromes or phytochrome cells, these are type of photoreceptors ng halaman that makes your plant light sensitive. So, dalawa lang naman kasi yung pigment kung saan sensitive yung ating halaman. Okay? Ano yung pigment na yon? They are specifically, sorry. Dalawa lang naman yung lights, okay, kung saan sensitive yung ating phytochromes. And ano yung two types of light na yon? We call that as red light and we call that as far red light. Now, our phytochromes is now the reason, this pigments is now the reason kung bakit ang ating halaman ay sensitive sa light quality, direction, and duration. Kaya mapapansin natin, bakit kaya may mga halaman na namumulaklak kapag maikli lang yung araw at namumulaklak kapag mahaba ang araw, or what we call a short day and long day plants. Bakit kaya mahalaga ang araw sa seed germination, for example? Diba? Bakit kaya may mga halaman na they avoid shade, right? And they avoid shade in order to get some sunlight. Yun yung purpose ng phytochrome cells. For example, when it comes to seed germination, kung ang iyong seed, okay, yung seed natin, naka-absorb ng red light or PR, okay, naka-absorb siya ng red light yung ating seed, magsuswitch yung kanyang system. Dahil naka-absorb siya ng red light, ang mechanism niyan, parang dahil naka-absorb siya ng red light, magsuswitch siya from red light to far red light. And what will happen kapag nag-switch siya from red light to far red light? Diyan na nagsisimula yung process ng germination. Okay? So medyo counterintuitive yung concept ng red light and far red light. Kasi kapag ang na-absorb ng halaman is yung red light, okay? So this one, red light yung na-absorb niya. Instead na ito, yung maging process niya, ang nagiging process niya is yung kanyang active process which is far red light. And ano yung ginagawa ng far red light? Ito yung mga yun, germination, detiolation, branching, flowering, senescence. However, kung ang halaman mo naman ay naka-receive ng far red light, okay, these are color wavelength, okay? Instead na maging active siya, siya ay nagiging inactive. And what is happening there is that ang process niyan is that nagbo-broaden yung kanyang dahon para maghanap ng sunlight. The phytochrome cells is also related to photoperiodism. Kung saan may mga halaman na mapapansin nila na sobrang haba ng araw, and kapag sobrang haba ng araw sila ay namumulaklak. Ang tawag sa mga halaman na yun ay long day flowering plants. Kapag naman yung halaman mo ay napansin niya na masyadong maikli yung araw or masyadong mahaba yung gabi, ang tawag mo naman doon ay short day plants. Okay? So yan yung purpose ng ating phytochrome cells. And of course, we all have chloroplast. And chloroplast, we all know that the function of the chloroplast in plant cell is on photosynthesis. Okay? Your photosynthesis, the process by which your plants convert sunlight into energy. So saan nangyayari yung photosynthesis? Sa loob ng chloroplast? Sa ating stroma, for example, dyan nangyayari yung tinatawag nating light-independent photosynthesis kung saan di niya kailangan ng araw. So yan, stroma. Whereas sa thylakoid naman, dyan naman nangyayari yung tinatawag nating light-dependent process of photosynthesis. Next question. A portion of the axis of a plant embryo or a seedling above the cotyledonary node, which determines the kind of germination that a seed will have. So we are looking at a portion of our plant that is found above the cotyledon. So a portion of your growing plant that is found above the cotyledonary node, ang tawag po sa part na yan is epicotyl. Okay? Now, why epicotyl? Let us first focus on the parts of your seed. The part of your seed is formed with your epicotyl, which is basically nandito sa taas kasi siya yung umuusbong. Okay, na mapapansin natin siya yung tumataas, kumbaga, it forms the above part of your plant. We have the hypocotyl, which forms the below part of your plant. We have the radicle, which forms the roots. Ito yung cotyledon, so yan yung magiging first leaves ng ating halaman, and we have the seed coat, which covers the whole of the embryo. Okay? Now, bakit yung epicotyl nasa above part ng ating cotyledonary node? As I have mentioned earlier, yung epicotyl mo ay itong part na to. Nasaan yung cotyledon mo? Yan yung first leaves. Yan. So, during epigeal germination, ang nangyayari, yung ating hypocotyl, siya yung tumutubo, siya yung nag-e-enlarge, and kapag nag-e-enlarge siya, it is as if kinakatapult niya pataas. Okay? Kinakatapult niya pataas yung epicotyl, and then susunod, yung epicotyl mo dyan ay mag-grow and mag-bloom, and mag-grow siya sa taas ng iyong cotyledon, which is this one, the first two leaves. How about during hypogeal germination naman? Anong nangyayari? During hypogeal germination, instead na yung hypocotyl yung mag-elongate, yung ating epicotyl yung uusbong, okay? So uusbong siya pataas, and again, iiwan niya sa baba yung cotyledon, and nandun dito yung hypocotyl na nasa baba ng cotyledon. So isipin nyo na lang, kapag tinanong kayo sa exam, ano yung part na nasa taas ng ating cotyledon, then that will be your epicotyl. Ano naman yung part na nasa baba ng cotyledon, then that would be your hypocotyl. That statement is true in both epigeal and hypogeal germination. Okay? Ang pinagkaiba lang sa epigeal, ang tumutubo dyan is yung hypocotyl, siya yung nag-elongate and kinakatapult niya pataas yung epicotyl. Whereas sa hypogeal germination, yung epicotyl mismo yung umuusbong pataas, iniiwan niya yung cotyledon and hypocotyl sa baba. And again, itong roots fruit part na to, yan ay galing sa iyong radicle. Okay? Next question. This is a unique component of lowland or wetland system of land preparation. Ano kaya daw ang unique sa lowland or wetland system of land preparation? Unique ba sa kanya ang plowing, harrowing, leveling, or flooding? Now, since this is wetland or lowland land preparation, dapat ang unang papasok sa isip nyo, rice. And ano ang unique when it comes to growing rice? It is flooding, di ba? When you grow rice or lowland crops, for in our example, or those that grow in wetland systems, tumutubo yung mga yan kapag flooded yung area. Okay? Now, kapag flooded yung area, flooding is a unique component of land preparation in managing a wetland system or lowland system. And importante ito, bakit? Unang-una, kailangan mong i-manage yung tubig kasi kailangan yan ng iyong halaman. Pangalawa, yung patubig na yan, it also acts as a way to control pest. So you need to make sure na hindi rin mapepeste yung tubig mo. And the way that you prepare the soil is also different kasi ang ginagawa mo dyan ay dapat ititil mo yung soil ng medyo malalim hanggang sa ma-hit mo yung kanyang, what do you call this? I think it's called as the clay pan. Para yung clay pan na yon is the structure in the soil kung saan from that structure hindi na magsisip pa pababa yung ating tubig. So yan yung very unique sa ating rice or sa system sa kapag tayo ay nagtatanim in a waterlogged system or in lowland areas. Okay? Now, why are the other options not correct? For example, plowing. Ang plowing, ginagawa yan sa highland, ginagawa rin yan sa lowland. Ginagawa yan kahit nabasa yung lupa mo and ginagawa rin yan kahit dry yung lupa mo. You need to plow because plowing is a technique used to turn the soil and prepare it for planting. Kung hindi mo yan ipaplow, magiging matigas yung lupa. Okay, so kailangan mong bungkalin yung lupa para mailabas yung nutrients na nasa loob ng lupa and magkaroon ng better aeration yung ating lupa. Harrowing naman, this one is the next step after plowing. Sa plowing, large chunks of soil pa lang yung nabibreak at that time. And yung harrowing, ang ginagawa is i-break natin yung large chunks of soil na yon into smaller pieces. How about leveling? Ano ibig sabihin yan? Leveling simply means to create a flat surface for planting. Madalas yan ginagawa kapag tayo ay nagtatanim ng seeds. Okay? So what do we do kapag nagtatanim tayo ng seeds? Mag-hill up tayo, so maggagawa tayo ng hill, and then at the top of that hill, we are going to flatten that. Now, why are we going to flatten it? To allow sunlight to penetrate equally yung ating seedbed. And that will now allow the proportionate or sabay-sabay na pagtubo or germination ng ating seed. Ginagawa hindi yan unique sa lowland or wetland system. Ginagawa yan madalas kahit nasa highland area ka or nasa lowland area ka. So what is really unique in wetland system or lowland system is flooding. Okay? Now, you cannot flood in highland system. Why? Because yung lupa sa highland system ay madalas very sandy and nagli-leach yung tubig ng mabilisan kapag ikaw ay nag-flood sa isang highland system. Okay? Last one. These are plants that grow on live trees or dead trunks but they do not depend on them for water and nutrients. So ano kayang tawag daw sa mga halaman na to? Lumalaki daw sila sa mga puno or sa mga patay na ano ba tawag na ito? Trunk ng puno. Pero, they do not parasitize that tree or that dead trunk. Do we call that as epiphytes, xerophytes, terrestrial, or bryophytes? The correct answer is epiphytes. Na yung pag-uusapan natin na apat na to, these are the type of plants according to adaptation. So mapapansin nyo, medyo unique sila. I-discuss natin yung unique reason kung bakit sila nabubuhay at a particular environment. For example, epiphytes. Epiphytes, they grow on other plants, such as your orchid. Now, bakit? The other reason is that the main reason is that they require physical support. So kailangan nila ng matataas na puno and dumidikit sila doon kasi kailangan nila ng physical support. At the same time, merong specialized cell sa kanilang mga roots and stems that allows them to capture water from the environment. So nagka-capture sila ng water and nutrients either from rain, organic debris ng ating puno, or even from the atmosphere or air itself. Kaya ating mga epiphytes, gusto ng mga yan, nasa taas sila, nakadikit sa puno kasi kumukuha sila ng nutrients from the atmosphere, from the air. Paano nila nagagawa yon? Because they have a specialized cell we call as, balikan natin yung lesson natin on modified roots, kung ano yung tawag doon sa part ng roots na yon that is specialized. Okay? Next one, we have xerophytes. Now, xerophytes, these are plants that are very adapted to environments with very little water, such as your deserts. So, anong example ng xerophytes natin? Cactus. Okay? Now, itong mga cactus na to, they can survive in hot environment with minimal water kasi meron silang specialized cells that allows them to conserve water as well. Okay? Napakakapal ng kanilang leaves. Okay? Okay? And yung kanilang makapal yung kanilang leaves. Actually, itong part ng cactus na to ay hindi to leaves but rather it is a specialized stem, if I'm not mistaken. And yung thorns na makikita natin doon sa ating cactus, yun na ngayon yung pinakadahon nila. Bakit naging thorn yung dahon nila? To reduce surface area. Okay? Kapag mas maliit yung surface area, mas mababa yung chance na nakakapag-release sila ng moisture. So, nakoconserve nila yung moisture sa loob ng halaman. So, ito yun ang xerophytes. Terrestrial plants naman, madali lang intindihin yan. Siyempre, yan yung mga halaman na nag-grow sa above the ground. Okay? Opposite ng aquatic. So, tumutubo sila sa soil, sa above ground soil. So, typically, almost lahat ng plant na makikita natin sa ngayon ay, typically, lahat ng plant na nakikita nyo sa paligid nyo are terrestrial plants. So, like trees, shrubs, grasses, all of these are terrestrial plants, not unless nakita mong nakalubog sila sa tubig. Okay? So, terrestrial plants, all of their plants that grow above the ground. And the last term that we have in the choices is we call as bryophytes. Okay? Now, bryophytes, ang example ng ating bryophytes are mosses and liverworts. Okay? Now, bryophytes are non-vascular. Ibig sabihin yan, they are plants na wala silang special tube. Okay? Wala silang tube like yung ating, for example, yung ating puno. Yung ating puno ay may mga veins yung mga yan, may mga straws inside them. We call that as your parenchyma tissues, right? Your xylem and your phloem. And your xylem and your phloem helps your tree to move water and nutrient up and down its system. Ang mga bryophytes, wala po silang vascular tissue. Wala silang xylem and phloem, pero maliliit sila. And dahil maliliit sila, meron silang specialized tubes, sabihin na natin, na yung specialized tube na yon acts as sponge. And ano yung ginagawa ng specialized tube na yon that is acting as sponge? it is now soaking up water directly from the surroundings kung nasaan sila. For example, ating moss na to, wala siyang tube na xylem and phloem, pero nag-a-act siya as sponge kaya nakaka-capture siya ng tubig galing doon sa bato kung saan siya tumutubo. So yan naman ang ating bryophytes.